Well, hello. Wanted to do a quick little sit down and go over some of the tools that I've recently picked up. Actually, not too long ago, I picked up India stone set for honing. This is one of the double-sided, good Norton. Just recently, I picked up some oil for it, so I can have that available. And actually, working on my grinder over there behind me, I can grind some high-speed steel lathe tools, and then I'll be able to hone them nicely. Hope that won't leak. Let's see what else. A friend of mine came by and brought me some extra safety glasses. Don't do me any good though. I still got my good ones though. I can still wear those. These are good extras so if I have visitors, something that somebody else can grab. Let's see, what else did I grab here? These were some cheap file handles. We're on Amazon. A little smaller, I think, than I expected. I think they'll work. I have a whole bunch of files that don't have handles. And luckily most of them are smaller. I do have a couple of big ones that still need handles. But right now I've got a small handle actually pushed onto one close to this side. But I think that'll be okay. Interesting little bag. I don't know what to do with that. Picked up one of these guys. This is a Noga deburring system. Which I have not had one prior to today. So all of my deburring has been usually with sandpaper or a file. Extra bits in here. Excellent. Different colors. I'm guessing there's different styles. I'll have to do some reading up on that, find out what those are for. Alright, now I have one of those. Cool. Then from Edge Technologies, I did not have an indicator holder for the spindle of my mill. So most of the other parts, like those, or the vice stops and whatnot, I can make those myself. But this particular one, well, obviously I probably could make it. It seemed like it was probably a little more effort than it would be worth. Now the interesting thing I found with this particular, the hole in this is quite a bit larger than any of my indicators. So I'm not sure if there's supposed to be a sleeve or something that goes with that. I may have to make one so that I can actually fit an indicator in there. The other option is the hole here, which is too small for my stare at last word test indicator. So in the end, I'd ordered one of the correct ones that go on here that have the little dovetail and everything. So hopefully that should work out. But yeah, none of the ones I have currently have the little dovetail. So hopefully I'll be able to use that on the next project actually that I'm going to be doing. I also picked up some of these guys. I was watching a video recently about these spill-proof containers. They're actually for kids' paint. But they work great, I guess, for cutting oil. I'm going to give that a try. That way I can, it came in a package of 6, so I'll be able to have, one sitting on each machine. That way I don't have to go looking for it every time I need cutting oil. One on the drill press even. One on the drill press. I can keep one by the vise for times of cutting threads. I don't know if the lids will be good for anything or not. But anyway, at least my 3 primary machines. I can have one at the lathe, one at the mill, one at the drill press. Those should be good. You see, I did not have a height gauge. Picked this guy up, old machinist retiree. Worked, I think he said McDonnell Douglas, retired. Had this. I was able to pick it up off of Craigslist for relatively cheap. I don't know if you've ever really searched for height gauges, but they're either can't find them at all, at least in my area, or they're extremely expensive. On Craigslist, there's one guy that has a few of these. I think he had them at 80 or 90 each, which it's probably worth it. It is an import. It is Chinese. Really heavy. Heavier than I expected. I'd never actually used one. It does do 0 to 12, and it is it's got a dial crank on it. It's got inch numbers on here, and then the dial down to thousandths. Seems to be pretty nice. If I remove this pad here, underneath here, this workbench is actually, it's got a slate top. Well, not perfectly flat. It's not something I would do real precision work on, but it is good enough for doing basic layouts and drawing lines. So I was able to get this guy for $40, so it wasn't too bad. I was able to just run out not too far from the house. Old retiree got that one. And the last bit I got, so I've got my old Craftsman toolbox. I'm sure you've probably seen it in a few videos. It was actually my father's. He was a heavy equipment mechanic, and I inherited that when he passed about 16 years ago. And it's a great toolbox, and it's got, for the longest time it had all of the tools I got from him that I could actually use. Being a heavy equipment mechanic, he had a lot of stuff that was 2-inch box end wrenches and sockets and stuff like that that were just significantly larger than anything we actually needed. I ended up selling a lot of that stuff on eBay many years ago, because it stuff I would never need. But I did keep all of the standard mechanic tools and everything, and I kind of shuffled them around to make room for the machinist tools that I had. I had a few things. I got some calipers from him and some depth gauges and stuff that he had, that stuff a mechanic would use that is a machinist tool, but something that he would actually use. So I did get a few machinist tools from him, and they'd been in that toolbox for a long time. I hadn't really used them. So, when I started collecting the machinist tools, I had to do a lot of rearranging in there and really just didn't have the room. So I was looking on Craigslist again. I found this guy. He's Kennedy. These guys are a lot heavier than they look. So they had $100. I offered 80. They said the lowest they'd take was 90. So whatever. I'll go pick it up. Maybe a little bit much, but being in Phoenix, it's not too often that we get good stuff. There's been quite a few Kennedys on Craigslist in the almost new price range. So decided I'll jump on this one. And one of the main reasons that it was so cheap is something's up with the paint. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just flaking off. I don't know if it might have sat out in the Phoenix sun for a while. There's a little bit of flaking up here and then on here. The rest of it's pretty dang good. Figured I can buy this paint. Kennedy does have some spray paint. It was fairly expensive, about $30 for a can. I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not, but it's the hammered texture. I'm guessing it should get at least pretty close to what this looked like originally. If anybody's ever used that, please leave a comment down below and tell me if it's worth it or not. For the most part, it's just the exterior. The interior of it's really nice. The velvet's all really nice. Looks like a little bit there, but the drawers are relatively smooth. I can put a little bit of grease on them, but this will give me a place I can put all of my mechanics tools back into my dad's old toolbox, and then I can use this for all my new machine shop tools. Haven't decided exactly where I'm going to put it just yet. It's probably going to go over next to the Craftsman, but I'll be able to put like I said, all my machinist tools in here. And that pretty much covers it. That's all of the stuff that I've bought recently, at least. And I wanted to throw together a quick video going over some of these things and just kind of let you guys know what's going on. All right, I made that.